Hi, I'm Nina McVeigh.
And I'm Connie Fanders.
And I am so excited. Bernina has several features that are targeted just to quilters. One of them is the straight stitch throat plate, and I want you to notice that there is just a single hole in the middle of that throat plate. So when we are stitching, you're going to see that the corners of a triangle aren't going to be pushed into that hole, like they might be on a standard throat plate. So as I put this fabric in, that's not going to be pushed down. So make sure you use this straight stitch throat plate. The other thing that you will want to make sure that you have on your machine is a patchwork foot. There are markings on the side of this foot that can help us, and as we come around to the back, you'll notice a large opening for the dual feed mechanism, which is available on several Bernina models.
You know, the dual feed is one of my favorite new features on our machines because it acts like a built-in walking foot. So when we engage the dual feed, it's going to keep all of the layers of my fabric moving at the same rate. So I don't have any tucks as I cross my stitching lines.
And then of course there's a guide on the side of this foot to keep us on the straight and narrow, as it were, just to make sure that we're not wandering.
That's right.
So let me put this foot on the machine. I'm going to attach the foot, and then if you are using a dual feed foot, you must remember to engage dual feed.
But look how easy that is. I love that.
Easy. And many of our models now have dual feed.
Along with the straight stitch plate and the 1/4 inch foot and the dual feed, there are a lot more built-in features into Bernina machines that are just for our quilters.
That's right, and I can't wait to show you the quilt menu that is wonderful if you are a quilter. Here's the main menu on the 880. This is similar to a lot of the machines, and I'm going to access the quilt menu by selecting the icon. And you'll notice right away that I have several different straight stitches here as well. I would use this particular straight stitch when I piece, because if you look, when I engage this stitch, I have a shorter stitch length. That's already programmed into that stitch. And then of course, if I'm quilting with a straight stitch, I might use this stitch, again, because it's longer. As I look at the different stitches in the quilt menu, they are designed for quilters. I don't know how many quilters know that we have a mock hand-looking quilt stitch. Not only do we have it here, but as I scroll through all these beautiful stitches, we have it, well, let me go back one. We have it in different intervals, so I can have 8 stitches per inch or 10 stitches per inch. You know, with hand quilting, I might have to do some practicing.
Well, go to the next one, Nina. You see the irregular stitch? Because that one, if I were to do hand quilting, that's how my stitch would look.
Well, this does make it look real.
Yeah, it does.
Rather than these perfect stitches per inch. So when we do use a quilting stitch or a mock quilting stitch, it is important, it's imperative actually, that we thread our machine with a monofilament on the top, and then whatever colored thread that you want that quilting stitch to be, we want to put in our bobbin, and that's a little bit different. Again, the stitches, when we select them, are set up the way that not only the length that we want, but also in this particular instance with a tension that we want. And what's going to happen is we are going to pull that colored thread out of our bobbin to create that hand-looking stitch. The quilt menu also has many stitches that quilters like to use, of course, like the applique stitches that you might want to use, like the single and the double blanket stitch. Of course, you wouldn't want to use those stitches with the straight stitch throat plate on.
That would damage your needle for sure.
Yes. So I have a project. I've created these scissor holders, both small and large, and I've used that hand quilting stitch on the holder itself. These are in the style of Japanese quilting. I've created something that looks very much like a hand quilting stitch.
Nina, that is just lovely.
And these were created entirely in the quilt menu. This is a pattern that's available on the Bernina website.
Well, that's great because I know people will want to make this project.
And it was made entirely in the quilt menu. To learn more about the quilt menu and Bernina machines, visit your local Bernina dealer today.